All right, we have time for one last question. I'm going to go to this gentleman right here in the front.
First of all, thank you for providing this forum. It's an amazing forum, a great group of people you put together here today. My name is Scott Ricard. I'm a former NSA linguist and also a U.S. Air Force linguist. I've served my country for quite a long time, and I will tell you that the country needs a big reality check. Very disingenuous to say that Reagan was a peaceful president. He fought 2 wars that I covered very closely against Iran, and another war I covered very closely against the best way to fight your enemy is to use an enemy, and that's what we did with Saddam, and that's also what we did with guys like the folks in Afghanistan and in Pakistan against the Russians. We fought the Russians for 10 years as well. So that's very disingenuous. In fact, my question is, how can we continue to survive as a country? In my lifetime, I'm 50 years old this year. We've murdered over 25 million people in this world and lost less than 100,000 in battle. And 58,000 of those were in Vietnam. Now, the fact is that we are a far more warring nation than any other nation on the history of this planet. We've killed more people, and we've done some terrible things around the world. And I really feel it's disingenuous to sit in front of a crowd and mislead them about the kind of nation that we've become. We've got more weapons of mass destruction. We provided mustard gas in the 80s to Saddam Hussein. The reason we didn't find weapons of mass destruction there is because they had stamped "Made in USA" on them, and we destroyed them. That's a fact.
Okay. Thank you. And you might want to wrap in any other comments you'd like to make as a wrap-up, as we'll go to each of you, and maybe we can start with Dov and go in reverse order that we started with. Sure.
Well, you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion. You may have been in the middle of our shipping mustard gas to Saddam. You may have been in the middle of our killing 25 million people. That's not the country I know. It's as simple as that. And it's not the country I've served. I would say this. It's true, we supplied the Afghan rebels. No doubt about it. But they were doing the fighting. And if we helped Saddam against the Iranians, he was doing the fighting. So I stand by what I said. We sent troops into Grenada. It wasn't exactly a 10-year-old battle. We actually pulled ourselves out of Lebanon. So I stand by what I said about Mr. Reagan. I don't believe that we are the evil empire. Maybe you do.
Create any more jobs, gave themselves multi-million-dollar bonus checks, padded their assets, while homeowners continue to be foreclosed and the unemployed continue to be unemployed. That's why there's a deep level of satisfaction, because this is a system that is always on the side of the banks and the super rich, while tens of millions of working families are really hurting.
Well, let me bring in former American intelligence linguist Scott Ricard from Orlando. Welcome, Scott Ricard. Let's go with this job creation and unemployment. I mean, it's 3 months to go, and it's pretty dismal reading based on the most recent data coming out. Of course, the U.S. has been struggling with this since the financial crisis 4 years ago, but based on the latest report, unemployment rates have actually risen in 44 U.S. states as of this record being taken in July. That's the most states to show a monthly increase in more than 3 years. Do you think that the 2012 election is going to hinge on something like this, which is overall under the umbrella of the economy?
Well, I believe that they're going to try to focus on economy, and they're going to try to focus on employment. And obviously those are problems that are systemic with our system. As Michael has put up, and as also Mark Dankoff has said, we live in a society that's been completely robbed by the banks. And these banks have gone overboard on cheating us with the LIBOR scandal, cheating us with the TARP bailouts, and they're continuing to pay off our politicians, take us to wars, use the lobbyists, just as Mark Dankoff mentioned. AIPAC is leading us into more wars and breaking the bank in this country to where we are again having to take out trillions of dollars of loans again and print up new money. And there's a 100% chance of that happening either right after the election or right before the election, and I know they've got to delay it. So we're looking at a society that is highly disappointed in their government, but they don't do anything. The reason they don't do anything is they're fed a lot of information that is completely misinformed. I mean, the Gallup poll, for example, I mean, it's not a good measure of American society. These polls are actually run by the same banks and the same lobbying groups. They're the clients of these polls. I mean, they're no representation of what's going on in this country. They've been in place since the 1930s, and they've been taking polls that are basically leading the media to describe what's going on in this society for the society. But when you take a look at what the people are saying, and when you take a look at the masses and what they're saying outside of the polls, the people outside the polls are actually very disappointed. They don't know what to do, and frankly, they don't rise up against the government because they've been taught not to. I mean, they are not in a position to rise up. And fact is that they need to take a better stance, and they need to rise up against the government, because the government is cheating them, and it's cheating them with the corporate banking and the lobbying groups and all of the military-industrial complex that's making money every day. As Michael said, $700 million a day in Afghanistan. It's unreal.